The Indianapolis Colts going to hit the field tomorrow at noon for training camp. We had a chance to catch up with General Manager Chris Ballard. He had a lot to say about a lot of things, all of it pretty interesting.
Starting off, so y'all probably got the list, but I'll read through it real quick. So starting out on PUP, we had Tyquan Lewis. He's getting close. We expect him back soon. I won't put a timeline on it, but we think he'll be back soon. McLeod had a little procedure on a knee. He's close. This is probably more us than him right now. But we expect him back pretty quickly without any setbacks. Darius, I know y'all talked to Darius. Doing much better. Feels a lot of relief. And I think that's a good sign. You know, when he's back when he's back. You know, when he's got strength and he's ready, he's back. All right, so no timeline on him. Mike Strahan, he had a knee procedure, you know, before he left. He's going to be a little bit of time. We think before the end of camp, he'll be back. But we'll see. He's still rehabbing and making progress. And then we put Eric Johnson on NFI. He tweaked his back. Training. That shouldn't be a long. We don't think that'll be a long issue. Should be back fairly quickly. All right.
Chris,
fire away.
You said when Phillip was done that it'll be one of the great joys of your career working with him. Do you get any inklings early on with Matt that you're going to be saying something fairly similar?
Phillip was fun, and it was fun. It was fun to watch the joy. I mean, I think I've told you this before, but like the joy he played with, like he loved to play, and that's what you. And I think Frank and I were talking about this yesterday, where, you know, now getting Matt, who's very similar, different but similar, in their joy and their love for the whole process of playing. It's not just about game day. No, they love the practice, they're okay with being bored with the process of preparation. And that's really cool to be around. And, you know, when you're, you know, being around Phillip, who, you know, had such a long career, now being around Matt, there's a lot of similarities, but also some differences, but their joy is very similar. So yeah, in that regard, yes.
What's the feedback you've gotten from players and coaches about being around Matt? I don't know if they got together over the offseason or just in general, the feedback from him being in town.
Well, look, it's positive. I mean, guy's a leader. He's a pro. Wants to win. He's got an urgency about him. He knows that he's at the tail end of his career and he wants to make the most of it. So no, it's been very positive. But look, you know, we're just starting. You know, OTAs and off-season work was good, but now, you know, now the real work starts.
When you look at from a roster building perspective, how do you approach March, April, May, even now? Making sure what happens this year doesn't repeat itself from last year. Like, how do you do that now?
Well, look, we're always evaluating in terms of adding new players, and when we think we can get better, we will, and we'll continue. We do that every year anyways, and we'll continue to do that. That's a year-long thing with us.
Yeah, but specifically, do you add different players? Did you address what happened last year and think we might need to do things a little bit different, whether it's maybe a veteran here or there, or maybe it's, you know, did that change your thinking?
Well, I mean, I think we did add veterans. I mean, I think Yannick's played a lot of football. I think Matt Ryan's played a lot of football. I think Stephon Gilmore's played a lot of football. If you ask me if I'm going to load up with a veteran team of all vets, no. I mean, you've got to have a balance. There's got to be a balance. There's got to be both veteran players and youth. And I think we got a good mix of vet players.
Chris, when you look at the week one slow starts, can you point to anything that is consistent over the years for that? And do you change anything camp-wise?
Well, we've changed. You know, I mean, you can see with the start times. We've adjusted our schedule. You know, Rusty Jones and the strength cast staff, who I have a great deal of trust in, they have worked hard this offseason to try to get a good offseason. I mean, training camp schedule so we can hit the ground running better in week one. We made adjustments, so you can see with the 12 o'clock starts, walkthroughs are more in the morning. So we're doing all we can to try to rectify that. Fucking then play better. Like, let's just play better in week one. I mean, we played bad. Let's just play better. Let's just play good football.
What's the thinking behind moving the practices back 2 hours?
Well, we play at 1 o'clock. All right, so hopefully from a circadian rhythm standpoint, talking to Rusty, getting him up and getting the walkthrough and getting the sun in their eyes early, we can start setting their clocks to how we play. We'll see.
Julian, knock on wood, it's the first day. It seems like it's gonna be uneventful. I mean, right now,
Yeah, Chap just he wants stories. He's jinxed us.
But right now, the biggest thing that Darius said is he wants to be called Shaquille. So does it feel uneventful so far? I mean, who knows what tomorrow
He
brings?
won, man.
I always expect, look, you're gonna have some things happen. That's just normal. It's with every team in the league. I wish it was gonna be smooth sailing throughout. I mean, that'd be great, but that's not realistic. And look, as for Darius, I mean, people around the building call him Shaq. I mean, that's, internally, that's happened. I've never called him Shaq, but I know people in the building do, so.
With Strawn out, we've asked you about 1,000,000 times about the receivers. You'll continue to look, I'm sure, but what's your feel and has it changed on adding a veteran? Whether it's TY, whether it's
That's a
someone
good
else.
question, and we're still having those discussions. We got time with whoever we add, whether it's TY or someone else, and TY is still in the mix.
Is Julio Jones in the mix?
I don't usually talk about players' card, but we have not had any discussions about Julio. I know there's reports out there, but those reports they're wrong.
Julian Blackman, is he good to go to start training camp?
Mm-hmm. Julian's good to go. We'll take care of him. We'll take care of him, but, Julian's good to go.
You mentioned things are still on the table with TY, so what have those conversations been like lately? I know we talked about it a couple months ago, but where it stands right now with him in the decision-making process?
Well, I'll keep that internal. Yeah, I think a couple things I don't talk about is like contract discussions or, anything. Those are all internal.
So how about the position generally? How will you determine whether you need to make a move? I mean, do you just want to see these guys out here? Is that
Yeah,
just
well,
where we're
look,
at?
and we like who we have. Michael Pittman's a good player. We kind of wash over this guy. Sometimes I think the league does. Freaking, this dude's good. We thought Parrish had a great offseason. We drafted Alec Pierce, who we really like. We thought he had a good offseason. Ashton Doolin just kind of gets overlooked, too, for what he brings. And now you got a younger group, back in with Patman, who we think's got a lot of talent, and it's his time to show up. Kiki Kuti, who's played, and Harris, so we've got some other kids we like. And then plus, I don't want to overlook Naheem, and what Naheem can bring. I just don't see quite the desperation. Sure, look, it'd be easy for me to go sign a name for y'all. It would be, y'all would write these beautiful stories. And then when that guy didn't play well, the flip would be incredible. Like, it would be incredible. Y'all won't get called on it. I will. Y'all won't get called on it, though. So have some patience. Let us work through it.
Now, that's why I read everything you do.
Damn right. and a lot of time it deserved.
When you look at that receiver position, people say it's shallow. Do you guys just evaluate the pass catchers as a whole, running backs, tight ends? It's a group, not necessarily.
Yeah, and I think when you watch Frank's offense, he spreads the ball around. Even the year in Philly that they won the Super Bowl, if you look at it, I don't think they had a receiver over 800 yards that year. They spread the ball around. And that's been pretty consistent here, too.
Chris, position battles that stand out to you, either side of the ball?
Yeah, left tackle. We thought Pryor did some really good things last year, and anxious to see him and Bernard compete. Interior defensive line, after Grover and Buckner, finding some depth in there. Those are going to be big. The safety position, we know what Julian can do, but with Blackman and Cross and some of the other rookies, young guys we have, those are going to be fun battles to watch.
When you're building the roster positions, if you're looking at a pass rusher or a corner, if it's not the elite guy, would you rather have the pass rusher because of how they can impact everything else?
Well, it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. You got to cover, but you got to rush. To me, it all kind of all works together. And you want great players at both positions, but we also know that, sometimes you got to do what you best that's available at the time. We feel good about the upgrades we've made there. Feel good about Yannick and what he's going to bring. Feel good about Dio. Thought Dio had a great offseason. Be fun to watch him, continue to develop. And we thought Quiddy played pretty well last year, and he's going to continue to get better. So we feel good about it.
Chris, Kenny wanted a new deal this year. How do you view a player making that known? And you haven't had a lot of it here.
No, and I don't. First, I'm not going to talk about contract stuff here. Just not going to do that in public. But look, they got to. I think everybody wants more. Damn right. It's okay. But then there comes a time you got to play. Okay, now it's time to play.
So
you guys feel like
you
you're.
don't address Quentin either?
No, I'm not going to address that. I think y'all know I want him here, and we want him here. So no.
Chris, year 6, the division, does it eat at you more every year that the drought continues?
It does, because we've been so close. In 18, we flubbed some games. In 20, we had a real shot again in last year. So yeah, that bugs you. But give Tennessee credit. Tennessee's won games when they need to win games. But it's a new year. We start over and we go again.
You mentioned Matt Ryan having credibility coming in with that. I forget who said it earlier, but maybe they just said, he gets chills when he talks, when he speaks up. Have you seen instances where, where that comes through? Because he's also new, right? And
that was one of the things that's going to be one of the cool things I think is going to be good for our city to get to know Matt Ryan, because I don't think they've got to fully know Phillip because of COVID. Yeah. And that sucked because Phillip was fun and led, and I think that's what you're gonna see with Matt. Look, guy's got a ton of experience. He's been through it at every level. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs. He's not much he hadn't done. And then he leads. He leads, and he leads by not only his actions but his words, and that matters. It's easy to get up here and just say something, but then to actually live it, and each and every day he does, and that's contagious.
With Khari Willis's decision to retire, was there much conversation about that? Did you see it coming, and did that play any role into some of the moves you made at safety?
Well, we wanted to add more depth at safety, whether Khari was here or not, especially after last year when we had the injury stuff happen. We wanted to make sure we added. And as for Khari, look, football is just a short slice of life. And then they got to go to the real world, get a job, just like we do. And credit to Khari Willis for finding his life's work and passion, at that point. It's what I want for every player, for them to be able to find out what they love to do. Pat McAfee did it in his different way, but good for Khari. Khari's got a vision for what he wants to do and what he wants to be in life, and the influence he wants to have with his faith. And I don't ever try to talk a player out of when they think they know, when he knows and has real conviction on where the rest of his life's going to take him. And then as for the moves, we wanted to add depth. We were going to do that anyways.
Even Nick Cross
Even Nick Cross. Nick Cross stuck out like a sore thumb on draft day. We had him in the second round, and all of a sudden you look up at the back end of the third, and there's one card up on the board. Yeah, I don't think that would have mattered.
How do you feel about your tight ends?
Feel good about, now they're young, but I feel really good. OTA is OTA. There's no pads. So now, to watch both of those young kids develop with the pads on is going to be fun, and there'll be a learning curve. But I think both of them got really big upside.
What do you make of Quiddy Pay's eye vision thing?
That's a good point. It's something he's played with, his whole career, and he wouldn't be the first guy that's played with something like that. Remember Jermaine Mayberry I had in Kingsville? He was blind, I want to say, in the right eye. So it's something I think Quiddy will work around and play with.
Are there specific drills you look at left tackle when you're trying to go through that evaluation?
No, always go back to the teamwork, because one-on-one drill's great from a technique standpoint, but they're going to get beat. You're gonna have bad days in one-on-one. I mean, that's just normal. But the teamwork, that's when you want to see all five working together. Who fits the best, who's working the best in the unit. All that plays in. So the teamwork's going to be big.
So Chris,
All right, two more.
you expect Kenny to practice tomorrow?
Yeah,
You guys on a good page with him?
yeah. Kenny's special. I think y'all know my relationship with Kenny. I mean, our relationship's going to go far beyond football when it's over. But yeah, he's good.
So that's Chris Ballard. What'd we learn? They're still thinking about adding TY Hilton, and they have not spoken at all about Julio Jones. So there you go. Chris Ballard doing his annual kind of, state of the franchise deal with the media. We learned things. Chris Ballard always seems like an honest guy. He doesn't tell you everything, but he tells you some things, and that puts him ahead of the pack.